hello check, hello check, hello check, 1 2 3 4, hello check, hello check, 1 2 3 4, hello check, hello check, 1 2 3 4, hello check, hello check, hello check, hello check,
रिकॉर्डिंग करना है ना भैया।
हेलो चेक, 1 2 3 4,
इधर आके बैठ जाओ आराम से। देखो नहीं
हेलो चेक, हेलो चेक, 1 2 3 4,
प्रोग्राम शुरू करना ही है ना।
चेक,
हेलो
चेक, हेलो
लाइव जा रहा है क्या? हाँ वेट पे जा रहे हैं लाइव अभी। हाँ कोई दिक्कत नहीं, प्रोग्राम शुरू भी नहीं हुआ।
काम कर
ले भाई
इसमें बोल रहा है अर्थिंग का चेक कर लेना।
आप हट जाओ भाई साहब, सर आ रहा है आपका।
आपको डाउट है ऑडियो में? आ रहा है लाइन आउट हो रहा है दोस्त।
हाँ
और जो आप भी लाइन आउट लीजिए।
हाँ केबल देने के लिए बोल दो।
अरे क्या लाइन आउट के कैमरे में लास्ट मूवमेंट का बोलेंगे क्या? बदल का लास्ट में रेड होता है। लाइन आउट में डिस्टर्बेंस है लाइन आउट। अरे उन्होंने लिया तो मैंने भी लिया था, वो डिस्टर्बेंस आ रही तो क्या करूँ?
किसने दिया था भैया ये आप आगे काम इनपुट दे दो। मैं यहाँ ही का ना
ले दो। मैंने लगाई थी ना किसमें से? ये तो अपना आउट दे रहा हूँ। क्या चाहिए तुम्हें? बिल्कुल लाइट नहीं, आप लाइट दे दो बोले। हाँ छूट गया था नहीं। एक डालो, दो है। हाँ दो, अभी पता नहीं है कौन सी है, मैं दोनों डाल रहा हूँ। ठीक है
अभी तक चेक नहीं हुआ क्या?
ये लो, दोनों में डाल कर जो भी आएगा। ठीक है चलो हेडफोन तो लगाना पड़ेगा ना। हाँ वो आप फोटो पे भेज दीजिए। फोटो में कर रहा हूँ।
बोल तो नहीं वहाँ पे कुछ बोलेगा।
ये लाइन आउट नहीं आ रही,
आ रही ना, नहीं जा रही, इसीलिए तो
निकाल
मैं
लो।
जो तेरे को बोला तो समझ नहीं रहा मेरी बात क्या। ये तार वो माइक पर ना आ जाओ, गन माइक में केबल गन माइक है ना, उसको अटैच कर दो, मुझे दे देंगे।
अभी नहीं हो पाएगा। लास्ट टाइम पे केबल जो है डाली हो और 2 कितने खराब नहीं करेंगे।
तेरी जिम्मेवारी मेरी नहीं ऑडियो की ना, मैं तो बस सक्सेस बता रहा हूँ।
ये लाइन आउट
नहीं आ रहा हूँ
माना वो देखिए, इसीलिए तो मैं तब से क्यों परेशान हो रहा हूँ।
तुम बस बोलो जो गन माइक
वो गन माइक जो है मैंने वहाँ दे रखा है ना,
बस आ रही नहीं ऑडियो
वहाँ डाल रखा है ना,
वो मिली ऑडियो
वहाँ तो मिल ही रही है, इसीलिए तो कह रहा हूँ।
बस वाले आ रही है, क्या दिक्कत है? अभी ठीक है ना ऑडियो?
कुछ नहीं, ये लो इसमें से दे रहा हूँ। जिस पे भी आएगी वो कर लेना,
वो बोल वाले की
जिस पे भी एक बार वो करके दे।
ये अब इसका रोल नहीं होता उसको,
किसका?
कमांड आई वहाँ से।
ये तो उसके लिए है यार, तुम्हें ये चीज़ें लिए इनमें से दोनों लगा रखे, एक पे आएगा ठीक है, नहीं तो वो निकाल करके ना दूसरे पर डाल देना।
मैं नहीं जाऊँगा, मुझे मंदिर करने के लिए।
अरे कोई नहीं जाना, ये देखो ये रखो, ये यहाँ पे देखो, ये निकाल करके ये लगा कर दोगे, इतना कर दोगे, ये निकाल करके
एक बार चेक करा दूँगा।
ये निकाल देंगे।
क्या नाम है? संदीप? कैलाश भेजना चेक कर चेक करो यार।
Hello, audio check. 1, 2, 3, audio check. Audio check. Team Sansa team, audio check. 1, 2, 3. Camera 1, 2, thank you.
ये लॉन्ग शॉट है।
पावर नहीं है, पावर नहीं है। बोलो आगे रोक खाली पड़ी रूम में देखो।
ये ऑडियो आ रही है माचो आपको? मेरे को लाइन आउट नहीं आ रही।
तो नहीं है
हाँ? नहीं, इसमें केबल प्रॉब्लम है।
क्या करेगा मेरे को मिल रहे हैं वन
Numerous facets of their cultural heritage income literary works and dance styles as a social instrument that facilitates the exchange and interaction of cultural and by being situated within specific contexts that reflect the unique concerns of a particular place and time. The Ramayana are widely regarded for their importance in Indian itihas, I would say history, having a profound and far-reaching influence on the cultural and societal aspects, especially of various Southeast Asian nations. These narratives constitute the most ancient and renowned works within the literary masterpieces of Indian civilization. Folklore singers and artists played a significant role in the dissemination and adaptation of these works and serves as a prominent and effective mechanism of promoting ancient thought and philosophies. Through retelling of the stories from one another, these great historic stories were edited and retold to attract bigger and bigger audiences. They were altered and adapted to ensure a more contextualized and localized experience for their audience. Works such as Sri Rama, a Malaysian adaptation of the Ramayana, and Ram Ki, a Khmer rendition of the Ramayana in Cambodia, emphasizes on the popularity of these texts. Sanskrit language is another thread which culturally links India with Southeast Asia. Sanskrit scripts are recognized as the earliest known form of writing to have disseminated to the Southeast Asian region. Local languages also adopted similar alphabets. The contemporary alphabets employed in Burmese, Thai, Laos, and Cambodian languages are derived. Sanskrit has been found to be the predominant language in the significant quantity of ancient inscriptions that have been unearthed. In the context of court procedures, Sanskrit terminology was employed to end aspects, while vernacular language was limited to conveying solely factual information. Sanskrit words like karma, yoga, guru, etc. were widely used in popular speeches and discussions in the Southeast Asian region. There are Sanskrit language inscriptions on stone pillars in eastern Borneo, and the royal edicts in Sumatra were written in local Malay language in Indian script. Majority of the scripts of Southeast Asian nations originated from the Indic family scripts such as Sanskrit, Nagari and Pallava scripts. Sanskrit became the connecting language. This was emphasized by the fact that historically Indonesia emerged as a prominent hub for academic pursuits and the acquisition of Sanskrit knowledge among international students. There is evidence to suggest that Chinese scholars embarked on visits to Indonesia en route to India. Fahin, a renowned Chinese traveler and scholar, resided in Indonesia to acquire knowledge in the Sanskrit language prior to embarking on his journey to India. The discourse surrounding civilization is driven by both cultural and commercial factors. The origins of international trade can be traced back to the practice of barter, which eventually gave way to the economic doctrine of mercantilism. The processes of trade and commerce are enhanced by various factors such as geographical proximity, strategic location, historical linkages, and a heightened emphasis on economic policies that influence foreign relations. The exploration and establishment of maritime have facilitated the emergence of commercial connections, resulting in the interchange of commodities such as silk, textiles, spices, and technological advancements. Textiles formed a strong connection between India and Southeast Asia. Though Indonesia had an age-old tradition of local weaving for more than 4,000 years, Indian textiles were still imported and used not only as clothing or gifts and rituals in various ceremonies, but also as textiles used to decorate images in temples and ceilings or in manuscript covers. Textiles and Indianized pottery, both imported and domestically produced, reveals the role of both artisans and technology transfers from India to South. The aforementioned phenomena has served as a fundamental support system for historical societies and has culture and commercial connect is the ancient silk and trade routes across the Southeast and Central Asia. To this day, trade and commerce continue to serve as fundamental pillars of society, offering not only sustenance but also opportunities to enhance politico-economic security and foster cultural connections. The cultural connections fostered by such trade routes led to the spread of Buddhism across the land. The transmission of Buddhism to Central Asia and China corresponded with the development of the Silk routes as channels for intercultural exchanges. The most notable example of the spread of Buddhist ideology was the establishment and success of ancient Nalanda University. Nalanda University, founded in 427 Christian era, was home to 9 million books that attracted 10,000 students from across Eastern and Central Asia. They gathered here to learn medicine, logic, mathematics, and above all, Buddhist principles from some of the era's most revered scholars. Tibetan Buddhist scholar Taranaka had described the Nalanda Library as a 9-story building soaring into the clouds. Buddhist institutions found inspiration in the architectural layout of Nalanda, characterized by the presence of open courtyards surrounded by prayer halls and lecture rooms, and the stucco product produced here influenced ecclesiastical art in Thailand, and metal art migrated from here to Tibet and to the Malayan Peninsula. The university regularly sent esteemed scholars and professors to various destinations, including China, Korea, Japan, Indonesia, and Sri Lanka, with the purpose of disseminating Buddhist teachings and philosophy. The historical cultural exchange program played a significant role in the dissemination and formation of Buddhism throughout. Chinese Buddhist monk and traveler, Xuanzang studied and taught in Nalanda. He returned to China with a wagon load of 657 Buddhist books from Nalanda. Xuanzang, one of the world's most prominent Buddhist philosophers, translated a section of these books into Chinese to produce his life thesis, which argued that the universe is a manifestation of the mind. Dosho, his Japanese follower, brought this concept to Japan, where it became a prominent religion. Similarly, Korean Buddhist monk Haicho, also known as Hongjiao, embarked on a journey to India and penned the travelogue titled Pilgrimage to the Five Kingdoms of India. With provisational and cultural connect in ancient times, the modern times influenced by colonial rule further helped in spread of shared value systems, legacies and heritage on a global platform. With the colonization by several European powers, a new political structure was established that was hegemonic and discriminatory to indigenous populations. It implemented new economic models and institutions that introduced a labor-intensive plantation economy and commercialized agriculture. It demarcated, separating communities and cultures that had coexisted for several or multiple generations. Such colonization aimed at economic betterment of the colonizers, resulting in transfer of labor across borders. About 8 million people were shifted from India to Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka, 4 million to Malay, and 12 to 15 million to the then Burma. The colonial control spanned the entire world from Asia to Africa to Caribbean countries, espousing a sense of shared heritage among them. With the abolition of slave trade, a new form of colonial control had emerged called the indentured labor system. These indentured laborers were called the Girmitiyas. The term Girmitiya refers to a community of individuals of Indian origin who reside in various countries such as Mauritius, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname and Fiji. A striking feature of Girmitiyas is their long adherence to Indian culture. The preservation of cultural heritage among the Girmitiyas serves as a significant avenue for individuals to cultivate a sense of pride in their identity. Women, particularly of Girmitiya diaspora, helped in preserving the Indian identity. The laborers brought deities and idols with them and continued to follow their own customs of worship. Indian cuisine remains a major aspect of Indian culture and diaspora. The Indian diaspora has undergone transformation as a result of their active engagement in incorporating local elements into their festivals and embracing Indian cultural practices. The celebration of festivals like Holi Bhagwa, Shivratri, Diwali, Ganesh Chaturthi, Ram Leela, etc. further enhances these emotions and their cultural heritage. To conclude, it can be stated...
May I now invite, I will try again to get the pronunciation right, Mr. Tilapat Mangkol Navin, who is the Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission of the Royal Thai Embassy. So you are free with my pronunciation. But what I do know is that in Thai, R is pronounced as Allah.
Pronunciation is a bit like different, but actually it's Sanskrit. All the Thai word, or most of the Thai words are Sanskrit, so you can easily get familiar with the Thai words, actually. Yes. So, Madam Additional Secretary, distinguished guest, Professor, it gives me great pleasure to be here today, and we'd like to thank the organizers, the Buddha, and others. Indian influence on the Thai culture can be vividly observed in various cultural spectrum. Thailand-India relations are marked by cultural ties and mutual cooperations, and that have been shaped by centuries of deep-rooted historical geographical proximity, has led to the extensive people-to-people contacts, and has evolved into a mutually beneficial partnership. If you look at the history of cultural connections, we can see this penetration of culture was carried out by traders. First, Brahmin priests, Buddhist monks, scholars, and adventurers all along the maritime trade routes. The most significant cultural contribution of India to Thailand is Buddhism, which was propagated in the 3rd century BC by Buddhist monks sent to Southeast Asia by King Ashoka. As for the influence of South Indian culture, several cultural linkages can be traced to religions, beliefs, societies, arts, literatures, languages, even regional cuisines in our countries. The influence of Brahminism and Hinduism is evident through the influence of the arts, and we can find sculptures appear to be similar to that of Pallava style of art of the 17th century from South India, while Shiva cult was also transmitted to the southern and central part of Thailand in 6th to 10th century. And both imported sculptures of Lord Shiva and artifacts, and also imitated artifacts that made by the indigenous people were found there. The importance of Buddhism is evidenced by the influence of arts and culture, like the Amaravati style image of Buddha sheltered by serpenthood or Naga became popular in Tavaravati art of 17th to 11th century and is being heritated in Ayutthaya, the very long-lasting kingdom of Thailand in the later centuries. In terms of languages, the Thai language has its roots in the ancient Sanskrit and Pali languages which originated in India. Pali language continues to prevail in Thailand, and we even now can hear the monks chant in the temple in Pali, while most of the Thais have their names adopted in Sanskrit. So the Thai script that we write also was derived from the Pallava script. Focusing on the literary part, traditional Thai literature and drama have been influenced by the arts and legends of Thailand, and other Indian literatures were popular in Thai courts. All the kings claimed themselves as Buddhist and avatar of Lord Rama, and the epic of Ramayana is known in Thailand as Ramakien, or the praise of Lord Rama. It was also under the reign of King Rama I that the construction began in the Grand Palace in Bangkok, with parts of the wall lavishly decorated with paintings representing stories from Ramakien. You may recall last year when Minister Jaishankar visited Thailand, he visited the Grand Palace, and the murals of the pictures of the Ramayana is in the background, Twitter, I think. And recently also, when he been to Thailand, he visited Stupa or a Prang, and he identified that there's a big Garuda on top of the Prang. You can see that take a look at his social media, right? And that also represents the art form of Khon dance. And when you may be familiar with that, the Khon dance is a mass dance, but it's based on the Ramayana story or Ramakien of Thailand. And so for Thailand, for India and Thailand, we have very long established bilateral relations, and we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations last year. Now we are in the 75th diplomatic relations year. Last year we organized in order to celebrate our 75th diplomatic relation, we organized several events, notably the cultural relations events, like a seminar in Kolkata and Varanasi on the journey of friendship through textiles, and weaving of Indo-Thai friendships, this Thai silk exhibition at the embassy on the 1st of August, we commemorating the relationship with the first gala dinner with the cultural performance, which are many based on the Indian dance. Then later in the year, in November, we organized a special lecture on Indian heritage in Thai civilization, arts and architecture by a renowned Thai professor from Silpakorn University, Professor Shetha, I think essentially with whom of you might know about him. And the lecture served as introduction and the inauguration of the exhibition at the National Museum of the Indo-Science Connect from February to May this year. And now the exhibition is over, but some of the panel boards about Thai-India relations can still be seen at the museum. So if you visit the National Museum, you can learn of Delhi. You can learn about Thai and India relations, cultural relations, and historical relations. It speaks better than what I'm speaking to you today. Also, last year we have a MOU for a cultural exchange program, which signed by the Thai government and Indian government for the year 2022 until 2027. So we can expect more exchange program, more activities between our two countries for promoting our cultural relations, including exchange of exhibitions, museum exhibitions, exchanging of writers, delegations, archaeologists, and research, and also conducting festivals in each other country. Distinguished guests, I would also like to inform you that from next month we are going to organize the 5th edition of an activity called Namaste Thailand Quiz Competition. So it's designed for the youth. Many questions will be asked. This is an online activity, online program, and we inviting the Indian youth to participate in the program, answering questions about mainly our cultural relations and about Thailand in particular. So we invite you, like if you are the youth, you can participate, and if you are the older guest, you can come and look into our Facebook and Namaste Thailand Facebook as well to participate in the program and cultural relations from online information that we will share during the course of next month and later and September. So in conclusion, culturally, Thailand and India share common heritage, traditions, religion, beliefs, art and history, and it is this shared social interaction and cultural similarities that ties especially people to people, connections through tourism and other forms of exchange. I mentioned about some artifacts, some architectural structures with Indian influence. So hope that when you visit Thailand again next time, I recommend that you can visit all these places and the museums all over Thailand to learn and appreciate them in your future trips to Thailand. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request Dr. Swapadas Gupta ji and Manika Jain ji to please present to you the artifact which was excavated. I have to repeat this every time, from Panchal region in the 1940s, and with the shawl. So a very interesting fact which came to my knowledge on my recent trip to Thailand last year was that they have what we call Brahma. So you have Ilawan, the four-faced deity in the middle of the Bangkok city, where everybody goes and offers incense sticks. So that, yeah, the Brahma, yes, that's the Brahma for us. Is it also the Brahma for you?
Erawan is the multifaceted elephant, right? Elephant is the intra. Yeah, in Thailand we used to worship intra before Vishnu, Shiva, just like in culture. Yeah. By the way, as you mentioned, Erawan, you can also visit a Thai restaurant. Recently opened in Claridge's Hotel. It's called Erawan. Claridge's Hotel. So you can sample like authentic Thai food, Thai cuisine at that restaurant prepared by a Thai chef.
Thank you so much, sir.
Well, I think, thank you again. What's interesting about Thailand is it's one of the very few countries in the region which was never really colonized. And that gave it a certain uniqueness about it. The connections with India to that extent have been almost undiluted with colonial influence. Undiluted. The representative spoke about the importance of Buddhism. And I think that's a very, very crucial link, which not only links Thailand, it links Sri Lanka, Indonesia, less so Cambodia, and all the other countries around that region. And there we have a certain obligation on the part of India. We've developed a Buddhist circuit to some extent, which is still not perfect, which still has scope for great improvement. But I would like to draw the attention, since we have a serving member of the Ministry of External Affairs, although it's something to do with the Ministry of Culture. The largest collection of Buddhist relics are actually in the Indian Museum in Kolkata. Unfortunately, and here comes the thing, most of it is in the basements. It's locked away, not shown to people. This is as much, to my mind, a shortcoming as the artifacts which are kept in the basement of the British Museum, which are not shown to anybody. And I think this has to be rectified almost as a matter of urgent priority. We've received other sort of appeals from various countries, but it's never been really acted on in any serious sort of way. I'm told now they're doing something about it, but I think if the MEA can add its voice to the Ministry of Culture and show that it has a certain wider connotation, it would be very good.
Thank you, sir. Srimati Manika Jain, you have to leave. You have a meeting which has, you would like to say something?
I'll just say I really regret I have to leave now, and this was going very interesting and very, very kind of, but sorry, I have to because I have another illness.
Thank you so much, ma'am. May I request Srimati Stuti Kakkarji to please join us on the stage, please. Invite His Excellency, please again correct me for my, I think you should have done this, Dr. Gupta. The Honorable Ambassador of Rwanda, Mr. Jacqueline Mukangira, please correct me, sir, again. I cannot stress this enough. I have a very rural tongue.
Thank you so much.
You know the festival of Kartik Purnima, which is there in... If it's interesting if you observe it in Orissa. What happens in Orissa, if you'll find, on the day of the Kartik Purnima, there's a boat, paper boats, with a little candle or something put there, and they're just floating. This is symbolic of the old route between Orissa and parts, very much a part of that living tradition. And that is a tradition which predated the Indo-China concept, which came about with the Dutch and the English, etc. And I think it's important to again look at that very much. And it's interesting also the different ways in which the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are treated in various parts of the world. You know, to see, some people look at it purely as an ethical document. Some people look at it as purely as a religious text. And I think there's a scope for looking at all of these various traditions. Each community, in a sense, has crafted a Ramayana or a Mahabharata in its own terms. Vibhishan, for instance, would not be considered. I I have not come across. In Odisha, I have come across Duryodhan. But that's also rare. Vibhishan, no. Absolute no. Because he was the man who betrayed his own brother. So again, here we find how different traditions are there. Ravan temples exist in one or two places in southern India. But not for Vibhishan. So again, here we find how many different traditions of the Ramayana and Mahabharata exist in the world. And wherever there has been an influence of this. And I think Indonesia is very... It's fascinating to study the two cultures together and see them in terms of their own value systems.
So an interesting way to look at Vibhishana would be, he was probably the police officer who arrested his own mafia brother, who joined the police force. But I would still stand for Vibhishana to an extent. Yes, the betrayal part is... now may I invite Mr. Peter Obwani, the Honorable Deputy Head of Mission, Head of Charter.
Yes, thank you. Yes, as already indicated, I'm the Deputy Head of Mission at the Embassy of Zimbabwe. So I would now, first of all, just want to start by thanking the Darupadi Trust for organizing and inviting us to this event. And also to thank the Joint Secretary who set the tone for this Ambassador's talk session by giving a keynote address highlighting India's connections with various parts of the world, including Asia and also Africa. And I would also want to express appreciation for India's decision to adopt the theme One World, One Family and One Future for its G20 presidency, and also to only maybe 1.5 months after assuming the presidency to host the Global Voice of the South Summit, which was to give opportunity to countries of the Global South to express their views and interests so that they can be taken aboard in discussions across the world. Coming to issue of the cultural links between India and other parts of the world, particularly Africa. Coming from Southern Africa, I'll focus on that sector, that area. That trade exchanges and cultural exchanges between the Southern Africa, as we know it today as different countries, but at that time, in the pre-colonial period, this was just part of Africa. And it was interacting with the Indian subcontinent through trade exchanges, including trade in gold and other artifacts and spices. And at that time, it was the Portuguese explorers who were traveling from Portugal through Southern Africa, east part of Southern Africa to India, and pursuing this trade in the exchanges in gold, artifacts, and so on. So between the period AD 700 and 1700, which is especially during the 14th and the 16th centuries, we had what was called the Monomtapa Empire, which spawned what is present-day Zimbabwe, and also present-day Mozambique, and also the northern part of present-day South Africa. So at that time, these were not countries in the sense that we know them today, which came with, of course, with colonialism. So there was a lot of trade between that empire and the Indian subcontinent. And in fact, even cultural exchanges were there to the extent that in around 1640, the then emperor sent his own son, a prince, to Goa, where he trained as a priest, and then was ordained. After he was ordained, he then worked in a place that is now close to what is present day Mumbai as a priest.
So that is the connection. But anyway, it's my privilege to be here addressing you. I would just narrate something from my experience. Now, you see, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is the whole slok in Upanishad is. I am Bandhuram, I am Neti, Gadana Laguchetana, Udar Charitanam to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is mine, this is not. This type of calculation is done by the narrow-minded people. For the broad-minded people, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is. So see, there it started. I'll go to the history, a little bit of history, and I would claim that from the very prehistorical time, it was a concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. In Ramayana time, if you see Ravan's father-in-law, Mandodari's father, Maya. Maya was supposed to be a wonderful architect, an engineer, civil engineer. Now, they say that Maya lived in Patal. Patal is below our. You end up in Mexico. And Mexico had got Maya civilization, which was known for its architectural marvels. So from that time, that was the connection. Now, similarly, you see Ram and Sita, like our Indonesian friend has said, in Indonesia, Ramayana is very usual, very frequently staged, though a little bit variations. Like in some of the stage plays, Sita is considered to be Rama's sister. In Cambodia, Hanuman is also there, but Hanuman is married with 2 wives and 3 children. So these stories travel from place to place with little variations suitable for local consumption. Even from the beginning of mankind, in Christianity and Islam, there is a story of Noah's Ark. Exactly the same story is in our Matsyavatar. When Manu was there and then a small fish he rescued, and the fish later said that, okay, whenever you are in need, please call me. And when there was a deluge, Manu called and the big fish appeared and it said, okay, just jump up on my back and I'll take you to a safer place. So these stories, I mean thousands and thousands, perhaps lakhs years ago, these stories instead of ark, it is Manu and it is fish, but the purpose was the same. So there had been somewhere some commonality which probably we are missing. Anyway, now I would like to say that in many of the countries, you see how words travel, how fast and how distorted. When I was in Hungary, I made a research of some more words. Kutta. In Hungarian they call it kutta. Chavi. Chavi is key. Thal is plate, big plate. Barat. Barat means friend. Barato means a group of friends, which is exactly what in our fathers Barat is. So somehow these things came and they connected with us. Like pau. In Portuguese, bread is called pau. P-A-O with a nasal sound, pau. When Vasco da Gama came here, he brought pau. And with that, the sadan or the roti. So it became pau roti. Roti which is called pau. I made a little research. Now that it became pau roti. Pau also means roti. So when it traveled to north, so this is how we know the things which come, Almira, Kursi, Mage, all Portuguese words originally. And they are very much accepted in India. So, and then coming to modern times, as my other speakers, as the other speakers said, the colonial heritage we had, be it from Dutch, be it from British, be it from French, but all the, atrocities committed by the colonialists were the same, more or less. So we suffered from the same sort of experience. And that is also what can bind us together. Then one or two more things I would like to say, that in modern times, I have seen in how cultural traits or our traditions are common. As Dr. Swapan Das Gupta said, we instead of differences, we should focus on commonalities. Like in Gulf, if you go, if you cross leg, it should not be seen by the guest or seen by the other person. Similarly, we also here don't like that type of push. In Brazil, what happens, if you are going as a guest, if you are invited by someone, it is the duty of the host to go and open door for you. Otherwise, it will be deemed that he doesn't want you to come again. So now, we also here in India, when our guest departs, we go and open doors for him or her as a courtesy measure. In all civilizations, from Southeast Asia to Latin America, I have been to Latin America twice in 7 years, I have seen that barring a few ultra-modern Western civilizations which have been distorted somewhat, in some of the countries I have seen that, when I was in Sweden, I have seen that passports of the local citizens or identity of the local citizens does not contain father's name. No, it has to be mother's name only, because mother is the biological mother. So that is the Stri Shakti, that is the women power, which only is capable of creation, nurturing and mentoring the child. So this type of thing, this is also a commonality that mother is, in Africa I have seen, family bondings are very strong, like in India. Though we are not very much culturally or biologically related, not near relations, but family bondage is there, and they very much care for the family. So is in Latin America. So these things are common, which we should try to research and we should try to focus and highlight these traditions, these family bondings, even so much so that in modern time, I'll tell you, in Brazil, there was, when I was there was a program, Bolsa Familia, family packet, which means in the family, in the poor family living below poverty line, every month an allowance will be given by the government, which will be directly transferred to the family. And where in the family? To the account of mother of the family, to the account of female of the family, subject to condition that they vote regularly and their children go to school reports are there, and health cards. Because concept was that if you give it to man of the family, might be he will swell away in drinking or other vices. But if you give it to the lady of the family, it will be utilized properly. Indian government has also borrowed it, as Dr. Sobhanga Das Gupta said. We should not only say that we have given this, or we give this, or we will give this. We take also, and I am happy that Indian government has borrowed this concept 3 years ago, and I think it is being implemented. I don't know whether it is given to the lady of the family or what, but this type of thing is being implemented. So these are the things that we have to implement, we have to think over, we have to focus, and we have to, I was surprised when I was in Venezuela. We went for a credential ceremony, and President Hugo Chavez, a communist, proven communist, we saw that not only we are in Bangla coats, but the president himself is in Bangla coat. And he was surprised. He said, "Oh, it is pity for us. And you also have that type of coat." Somewhere, somehow, these things, these fashions, these traditions traveled, which can bond us together. So, I will not speak on the political inclusion, Russia-Ukraine war, or Indo-Pacific, because there are plenty of platforms for that, and I have been speaking on that. But these things, if you keep aside the politics.
You know, when I was Principal Secretary Education in Kerala, the girl who came first in class 12 in Kerala, she was being honored. Chief Minister was there, Education Minister was there. I only organized it. After the meeting, when we came down, I asked this girl, "Tell me, very simple, what are you going to do with your life?" I also repeated in Malayalam, "What are you going to do with your life?" You know what, this most brilliant girl, 500 out of 500, you know what she told me? After thinking for a long time, she says, "I'll go home, I'll ask my mother, and then I'll tell you." According to me, she is mentally retarded, number one. She's not here, hopefully. No, but I say this openly to all the rank holders, in all these colleges where all these rank holders come, I keep telling them. Indian tradition is about discovering truth, isn't it? This is what our tradition is, our Gurukul system is, our entire system of wisdom coming down, and unparalleled wisdom. I did philosophy for the IAS exams, and I was the only one with philosophy from my batch in the IAS. I had to do both Western as well as Indian philosophy. Western philosophy is reached the heights for the Greeks coming down to Immanuel Kant, but look at Indian philosophy, which you spent something like 3,000 years back onwards. It is the ultimate knowledge, wisdom you can never find anywhere, Indian philosophy. 5,000 years back, our rishis, they talked about what is being talked about in the 20th century in Western philosophy. That was the kind of wisdom that India had. That's the kind of wisdom which was passed on orally, traditionally, and that is how they learned through a process of dialogue. So, again, related to the new education policy, let the child discover for himself or for herself what is the truth. Are not you teachers, okay, my fun teacher is sitting there, are not you teachers telling this is the truth and this is the only truth? You deviate 1 comma from the dictated note, you lose marks because predetermined. This is not Indian tradition. Sorry, we are all about Indian tradition, and heritage is all about debating what is the truth, isn't it? So we need to, when we talk about Indian tradition and culture, it's not about some statues out there, some temples out there. It's about a thinking process in which we include everybody. I'm a Christian, but for me, it's such a sacrilege to think that anybody who doesn't believe in what I believe is wrong. But unfortunately, some of our religious beliefs are such that anybody who doesn't believe in what I believe is wrong. And some scriptures also say so. Either you are with us or you are against us. Sorry, there is a place for everybody. And if you're talking about religion and a God, How many gods can there be? If God is a proper God, he can only be one. Isn't it? And then the biggest murder, the biggest slaughter in human history has been done in the name of this one God who is talking about love. So, isn't it? I mean, what an irony. All the wars, killings, everything, all in the name of religion, except of course if you have some lunatic ruler around the world. And I'm not mentioning anybody, no names. Okay. So, discover yourself. Discover yourself. Yeah. I mean, lunatic religion. How could you ever see things that completely, I mean, beyond my understanding? Like my eldest daughter-in-law is a Tamil Brahmin. I'm a Syrian Christian. My younger daughter-in-law is a white American with Ukrainian and Italian background. We are a happy world. Can't we live a happy world? And beyond just human beings getting together with each other, I'm a huge admirer of Harari. He says the human race is the most wicked race on the face of the earth. No animal kills for fun. Nobody. They kill when they feel hungry. But what's a human being doing? You are killing for fun, isn't it? Have you ever murdered somebody for the sake of food? No. We are killing for fun. Yeah, I was just watching Oppenheimer movie. How many of you have seen it? You must go and watch it. It's a fantastic movie. After having the bomb, Oppenheimer meets the president and says, President, you don't need to use the bomb because Germany has already surrendered and Japan has retreated. They're about to surrender. The president says, it's none of your business. We will take a decision. Because America had to prove that it is the most powerful country in the world, only country with a weapon. And therefore Oppenheimer was so distressed. He refused to be involved in the development of the hydrogen bomb. And he said, no way. We don't need it. It's destructive. I think when is the human race going to realize that we all need to coexist with the environment? Look at the way we have destroyed the environment. If we believe in the human heritage, that man in some ways in charge, we claim to be in charge, then take the responsibility. If you claim to be in charge of the world, protecting the world. And Harari says, and I endorse him fully, that the human race will be extinct on the face of the earth in 100 years. And he said, I endorse it. One day I asked a very mischievous question in Parliament. I asked the minister, there is a report like this, Oxford University, I think, which came out with a report saying the human species is going to be extinct in 100 years. And I asked the minister in supplementary, Minister, will you expedite the process? And obviously the minister didn't understand the question. He said, yes, 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 yes. So I do such mischiefs in the Parliament. Why? We are our heritage, Indian heritage. Our heritage, Indian heritage. Look at the way, come back to Delhi. Delhi is the most polluted capital of the world. If we believe in Vasudeva Kudumagam, in our heritage, in the Draupadi heritage, will we be destroying the universe, our neighborhood, our planet? We don't care. We throw rubbish, produce rubbish first of all, number one. We should not. And then we throw it just outside our compound and it's over. Why is Delhi flooding? Simple, because we throw garbage, everything into the drainage, which is not removed because we have a very efficient government in Delhi. It's not removed. Yeah. And they spend the money, of course, all the bills are changed. You don't do it. And then you advertise in the newspapers every day. One day I opened a newspaper in Malayalam and I found Chief Minister of Delhi on the front page of Malayalam newspaper. Yeah. You can't clean your drainage. Sorry, I'm not bringing politics into this. I was Commissioner of Delhi Development Authority. So I was something as a demolition man. I knocked down 14,310 illegal mansions in Delhi. But I also built something. I built Dwarka. Why can't we do it? If we believe we are one, when we say we are one, the universe is one, the planet Earth is one, the creatures are one. Why can't we say, oh my God, this environment is part of me? I need to protect it. How many of us care to tell our children? We don't. Anyway, how many of us have a dialogue with the children anyway? Love and affection is shown by buying the latest mobile phone. They come from school, run up to their rooms and they are on their devices and ask for the India Today survey, pornography. How many parents have a debate? This is not the Indian tradition of having food together, isn't it? We had a tradition in India. We sit together and have the food. Are we having a food? No way. Because that's the only time when there is no tuition, so the child grabs the food, runs to the television. There is not one. It's not a prime minister, it's not the chief minister, it's not the tourism minister, it's not the MP, it's not the municipal corporation. My dear child, you got to change the world. Do we parents have the courage to say? We don't. Then what kind of a responsibility is this? What kind of vision is this? Where we try to talk to children about what is good for the world. We used to. We don't anymore. Yeah. I think when we talk about Indian heritage, let's talk about the vast world, the vast universe. Responsibility to ourselves, to our people, to our children, to everybody. I think we just all got to live together. Manipur, what's happening there? Ethnic communities killing each other. What is that? Again, perception. Some people say, no, it's a communal. No, it's not. It's two. It's an ethnic conflict between cookies and the bakeries. And then you try to bring in a religious angle there, because some people who suffer, who get beaten, belong to a certain religion. But no, it's not. It's not a religious conflict. It's an ethnic conflict. But why are people doing that? They issued a warning in Mizoram. I'll just stop in 2 minutes. Mizoram saying, such a community, our brethren are getting persecuted in Manipur, and for you community, you get out. And they all have left. Where is this we and you? Why? I think we all belong here, right here. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, Darupadi Trust, great idea, you're organizing this. Let's talk beyond sculptures. I know we have the most amazing sculpture. Like last time when my family from abroad came and they said, can you take us to one place which you think represents India, it's the best? I took them to Ellora. And my family was stunned. I said, to me, it's the greatest creation of human being. It's not a pyramid. It's a Shiva temple. Cave number 16. That's the greatest creation of man. How many of you been to Ellora? I know most of you have been to Europe, but to Ellora. Yeah, great. It's the greatest creation of man. Nowhere in the world. I've been to over 100 countries. We have it in us. So, ladies and gentlemen, so let's talk beyond sculptures and all that. I'm talking about change of human heart. When you say Vasudeva Kudambakam, let's really mean it, or coexist together, not only people, but the planet here, the air, the water, the people, animals. In my house, I had 4 cats, I had 7 dogs, one passed away. We can all say, no, get your dogs, other dogs on the street. In fact, I'm a party in the Supreme Court in a case where Bombay High Court has issued an order saying all stray dogs must be gotten off. Yeah, you must have a device by which stray dogs are taken care of. And I was saying, if every family in the country adopts 1 dog each, problem is over. And why do stray dogs attack when they are hungry? Why can't every family keep a small little ball of water and a little bit of food outside? Happy dogs don't bite. I jog in the Lodi garden every day. There are groups coming and feeding dogs in Lodi garden. Lodi garden dogs don't bite. Why is that? Only Kerala dogs bite? Yeah, because we Malayalis get very aggressive. The moment we see a dog, we take a stone. Then we throw it. Yeah, then obviously the dog will bite. They will turn feral. Whose fault is it? We. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, great ideas, but my plea to the organizers is go beyond. Talk about the universe and how we need to change. I think unless we come down to that, how we need to change, nothing, no discussions take place, because I don't go to a lot of debates, seminars, because most of these debates are pointless. It doesn't relate to where I need to make a change. If I don't change as a person at the end of a seminar, it's completely useless as far as I'm concerned. I need to change, not somebody else. The speaker, the participants, those who are here on the stage, we need to change in some good way. Anyway, great initiative, congratulations, thank you so much, and I congratulate the organizers for doing this. And my friend Shri, she's been with me in Masuri Academy for the training, always good to see her. She's done so much for the women people. And I remember you coming and meeting me when I was minister. Yes, thank you for the ideas. And yes, we can all grow together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, before we call, we have a guest from the High Commissioner of the Republic of Fiji who has just joined us. So before I call you, sir, I just want to take 1 minute and I want to welcome a very, very special guest, Shri A.V. Mathurji, former IPS, Government of India. And I just want to welcome him.
Prosperous land, but the history, the culture is really not known to the world. She has been trying, today is almost 20 years. It's been a great pleasure today hearing such brilliant talks, and especially when it came from those countries where our culture, our heritage still prevails. We still have so many names. Then our friend from Fiji was just talking about my very dear friend, Major O.P. Mohan, who is now settled in Australia. His wife is a Fiji, Indra is her name. And she has been talking a lot about Fiji. Fiji is almost like what he said about Girmitias. Girmitia was a permit. These people left our holy land, India, as laborers. And nothing with them, just a kamandal full of Ganga Jal and a gutka of Ramayana or a Gita. A pleasure to see. Most of them are the leaders in those countries. They've established them to that level that either they are the prime ministers or the president in most of them. You see Mauritius, you see Suriname, you see Tobago, you see the Caribbeans, you see Fiji. Anywhere you see, this is the strength of this great culture of ours, and that is what we must be together. If we are together, we care for each other, we care for humanity, we care for our women, we care for our children. I am sure the dream of our great people who have given us this word, Vasudev Kutumbakam, is not only these two words, it has a lot of meaning. Let's work towards this Vasudev Kutumbakam. Thank you so much for giving me.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request you to just present the memento and a shawl to Professor Shashi Bala. She's been such an inspiration. And Shri Lalji, can I have you on stage, please, just one last time? And can you present the shawl to Srimati Suti Kakkarji and Professor Shashi Bala, who spoke about Shakti Tattva. Wonderful. Now this matches your... First, then he's an army. It's wonderful. Please, sir. Shri Lalji,